everyone and welcome to Dragon King. Today we are going to read the rest of the book Captain Underpants and the Talking Toilets by Dave Pilkey. Before we start, I like you to mash that like button so I could like and subscribe button so I could hit 100k subscribers and I could make tons of videos for you guys. Now let's start. Chapter 14, The Talking Toilet Takeover. When Captain Underpants was finished commanding the underwear of local civilians, he dashed back to Jerome Hodges Elementary to save the day. The school was now overrun with chaos. Miss Ribble came tearing out the door, followed by several evil toilets. "Help me!" she cried. "They've swallowed every teacher in the whole building except me." "Don't worry, ma'am. I won't let them eat you up," Captain Underpants said as the toilet ate her up. "Oops," said Captain Underpants. Now only George, Harold, and Captain Underpants were left. They stood on the front lawn of the school, completely surrounded by hungry, drooling toilets. "Yum, yum, eat 'em up," the talking toilets chanted. "Yum, yum, eat 'em up. Yum, yum, eat 'em up. Yum, yum, eat 'em up." "We're doomed," cried Harold. "Never underestimate the power of underwear," cried Captain Underpants, as he stretched and shot underwear into the waiting mouths of the talking toilets. Unfortunately, the toilets just swallowed the underwear whole. It only seemed to make them hungrier and hungrier. "If only we could think of something that would make them really sick." "Yeah," Harold continued, something so vile and disgusting it would make them all blow their cookies and writhe in agony. Suddenly, George and Harold's face lit up. "Cafeteria food!" they shouted, and faster than a speeding waistband, our three heroes dashed to the school. Chapter 15, Cream Chip Beef to the Rescue. George, Harold, and Captain Underpants got inside the school safely and closed the front door behind them. "I think the toilets are all outside," said George. "But not for long," said Harold. Quickly they ran to the school's kitchen and discovered a cart holding a large vat of something green and sludgy. "Yuck," said George, holding his nose. "What is that stuff?" "I think it's tomorrow's lunch," said Harold. "Perfect," said George. "I never thought I would be glad to see cream chip beef." Together they wheeled the tub of stinky green glop down the hallway and out the side door of the school. Captain Underpants sat in the car and stretched a pair of underwear over his head like a slingshot. George stood over him, scooped up some cafeteria food into the underwear and stretched it back. Harold wheeled the car toward the talking toilet. "Tra-la-la!" shouted Captain Underpants loudly. The talking toilets turned and saw our three heroes. All at once they shouted, "Yum, yum, eat 'em up," and the chase was on. Harold pulled the car across the playground as the toilet zipped after them. "Fire one!" cried Captain Underpants. George shot a glob of creamed chipped beef into the first toilet's mouth. The toilet swallowed it whole. Harold kept pulling as George scooped up another serving into the underwear and pulled it back. "Fire two!" Captain Underpants zipped on the cafeteria food right into the second toilet's mouth. The whole process repeated itself until every last toilet had swallowed at least 2 servings of cream chip beef. "We're almost out of ammo," Captain Underpants shouted. "And I don't think I can run anymore," said Harold, huffing and puffing. Don't worry, look, said George, pointing at the toilets. They had all slowed down and were beginning to groan and wobble around. Their eyes crossed, and they turned an odd shade of green. Look out, cried Harold. I think they're gonna hurl. And that's just what they did. George, Harold, and Captain Underpants watched as the toilets upchucked everything they had eaten during the day. The cream cheese beef, the underwear, even the teachers all came out without a scratch. Then the toilet spun around in small circles and fell to the ground, dead. George checked the teachers. They're alive, he said. Unconscious, but alive. Wow, said Harold. That was easy. Too easy, said George. What do you mean? Asked Harold. George pulled their comic book out of his backpack and showed it to Harold. Remember how the Pasty 2000 turned everything on the front cover of her comic book to life? He asked. Yeah, so? Said Harold. Well, said George as he pointed to the Turbo Toilet 2000 on the front cover of the comic. We haven't seen him yet. Chapter 16, The Turbo Toilet 2000. Suddenly, the Turbo Toilet 2000 came charging out the front door of the school with a terrible crash. The earth rumbled beneath its mighty footsteps as nearly a ton of twisting steel and raging porcelain descended upon our heroes. Crash. You three meddling fools may have destroyed my army of talking toilets, screamed the Turbo Toilet 2000, but you're all out of cafeteria food. How are you going to stop me? I'll tell you how, Captain Underpants said boldly, with wedgie power. Wait, Captain Underpants, cried George. You can't fight that thing. He'll rip you to pieces. Boys, said Captain Underpants nobly, I must fight valiantly for truth, justice, and all that is pre-shrunk and cottony. Captain Underpants leaped onto the Turbo Toilet 2000 and the battle began. I sure hope this doesn't lead to extremely graphic violence, said Harold. Me too, said George. Chapter 17, The Extremely Graphic Violence Chapter, Part 1 in Flipporama. Warning, the following chapter contains intense scenes showing a man in his underwear battling a giant toilet. Please do not try this at home. Let's see the flipping animation. Another flipping animation. The final flipporama. Chapter 18, Harold and the Purple Ballpoint Pen. Everything seemed hopeless. Captain Underpants had slipped and fallen into the mouth of the Turbo Toilet 2000, and now the giant toilet was coming after George and Harold. Ha ha ha, laughed the powerful proclaimed predator. Once I have eaten you two kids up, I will take over the world. Not if we have to say anything about it, yelled George. George and Harold ran into the school and locked the door behind them. The Turbo Toilet 2000 banged against the door with his fists, shouting, You boys can't hide in there forever. George and Harold ran into the gym. I got a plan, said George. We need to invent a character who can defeat the giant robot toilet. How about a giant robot urinal? Asked Harold. We can call it the Urinator. No way, said George. They'll never let us get away with that on a children's book. We're skating on thin ice as it is. All right, how about a giant plunger robot? He can carry a really big plunger and... That's it, cried George. So Harold took out his purple ballpoint pen and began to draw. Give him laser eyes, said George. All right, and give him turbo atomic rocket boosters, said George. Got it, said Harold, and make him obey your every command. I'm way ahead of you, said Harold. Harold finished his drawing and George inspected it carefully. This just might work, said George. Yeah, said Harold, if the pasty 2000 can hold out. The boys turned and looked at the dented, cracked, and beaten up machine lying on its side in the corner. George and Harold pushed the pasty 2000 upright and George dusted it off. Come on, pasty old girl, said George. We really need you now. Yeah, said Harold. The fate of the entire planet is in our hands. Chapter 19, The Incredible Robo-Plunger. George took Harold's picture and placed it on the screen of the pasty 2000 and pressed start. The light around them dimmed as the weary machine began to shake and smoke. Lightning bolts zapped, thunder clapped, and the whole gymnasium shook with photoatomic trends, some globulatory, yet fan triplotonicans energy. Come on, Pasty, George shouted over the horrible noise. You can do it, baby. Finally, a small ding was heard, and the pasty 2000 coughed up a huge metallic behemoth. It rose up and stood valiantly before George and Harold. It was the incredible robo-plunger. Hooray! Cried George. It worked. Way to go, Pasty. Harold cheered. Now let's go outside and kick some turbo toilet tushy. Chapter 20. The Extremely Graphic Violence, Chapter 2, Part 2, Flipporama. Notice, this following chapter contains terribly naughty scenes despite seeing a giant toilet getting its shiny hiney kicked. All toilet violence was carefully monitored by people for the ethical treatment of toilets. No actual toilets were harmed during the making of this chapter. The Incredible Robo-Plunger to the rescue. The Incredible Robo-Plunger kicks the TT-2000's tushy. The TT-2000 takes the plunge. Chapter 21, The Aftermath. The Incredible Robo-Plunger had defeated the evil Turbo Toilet 2000, but George and Harold's problems weren't over yet. They reached into the crumpled mouth of the TT-2000 and pulled out their principal. What happened here? Cried Mr. Krupp. The school has been destroyed, the teachers are all unconscious, and I'm standing here in my underwear. Uh-oh, Harold whispered. Captain Underpants must have gotten toilet water on his head. He's turned back into Principal Krupp. George took Mr. Krupp's clothes and hair out of his backpack and handed it to him. I'm ruined, Principal Krupp whined as he dressed himself. I'm going to be held responsible for this mess. I'm going to lose my job. Maybe not, said George. We can fix everything and clean up this whole mess. Yeah, said Harold, but it'll cost you. Cost me what? asked Mr. Krupp. Well, said George, we'd like you to cancel our detention and our suspension. And we also like to be principals for the day, said Harold. All right, said Mr. Crab. If you can really fix everything, you got a deal. George and Harold turned and spoke to the incredible robo-plunger. All right, robot guy, said George. Make yourself useful and pick up all this mess. Yeah, and fix the school too, said Harold. Use your laser eyes to repair all the broken windows and stuff. And when you're done, said George, take all the evidence and fly it up to Uranus. And don't come back, said Harold. Chapter 22. To make a long story short, the robot obeyed. Chapter 23. After the aftermath. The incredible robo-plunger soared off into space just as the teachers began to regain consciousness. I just had the strangest dream, said Miss Ribble. It was all about these evil toilets who want to take over the world. We had the same dream too, said the other teachers. Well, said Mr. Crab, things turned out quite right after all. Not quite, said George. It's payback time. Chapter 24. Principles for the day, or the Invention, Convention, Detention, Suspension, Prevention. Attention, students, said George over the intercom the following day. This is Principal George. You are all excused from classes today. There will be no homework or test, and everybody gets an A+ for the day. That's right, said Principal Harold. Also, we're hosting an all-day recess outside, complete with free pizza, French fries, cotton candy, and a live DJ. Now go outside and play. Principal George and Principal Harold strolled out to the playground to behold their glorious domain. George got a slice of pepperoni pizza, while Harold made himself a banana split at the all-you-can-eat ice cream sundae bar. It's good to be the principal, said Harold. Yep, said Harold. I wish we could be principals every day. Later, George and Harold paid a visit to the unfortunate folks who were spending all the day writing sentences in the detention room. All the teachers were there, along with Mr. Krupp and Melvin Sneedley. Mr. Krupp looked at the window on. How are you boys going to pay for all the ice cream and pizza? He asked. We sold some stuff, said Harold. What did you sell? Asked Mr. Krupp. Your antique walnut desk and leather chair, said George, and all the furniture in the teacher's lounge. What? Screamed Mr. Krupp. I think we better leave now, said Harold. George and Harold left the detention room in a hurry. Miss Anthrop snapped her fingers at them. Come back here right now, she yelled. Uh-oh, said George. Did Miss Anthrop just snap her fingers? Within seconds, Mr. Krupp dashed out of the detention room and ran down the hallway toward his office. He had a goofy, heroic, all too familiar-looking smile on his face. Oh no, cried George. Here we go again, said George. Tra-la-la! About the author. When Dave Pilkey was a kid, his teachers thought it was disruptive, behaviorally challenged, and in serious need of major attitude adjustment. When he wasn't writing sentences in the detention room, he could usually be found sitting at his private desk out on the hallway. There he spent his time writing and drawing his own original comic books about a superhero named Captain Underpants. It was always Dave's dream to publish a book about Captain Underpants. Now that dream has come true twice. Visit Dave Pilkey's extra crunchy website fun at www.pilkey.com. Other cool books by Dave Pilkey. The Adventures of Captain Underpants, Dog Breath, The Halloweener, The Paperboy, Dogzilla, Cat Kong, The Dumb Bunnies, Make Way for Dumb Bunnies, The Dumb Bunnies Easter, The Dumb Bunnies Go to the Zoo, 'Twas the Night Before Thanksgiving, A Friend for a Dragon, Dragon Gets By, Dragon's Fat Cat, Dragon's Halloween, Dragon's Merry Christmas, The Mongol Roller-Rama, The Silly Gooses, One Cat's Dream, World War One, God Bless the Girls. Coming soon, Captain Underpants and the Invasion of the Incredibly Naughty Cafeteria Ladies from Outer Space and the Equally Evil Lunchroom Zombie Nerds. And that is it, Dragon King readers. We read Captain Underpants and the Talking Toilets, the second novel by Dave Bilkey. If you enjoyed, I'd like you to like and subscribe again so we can hit 100k subscribers. Bye.